every night, bro. Every weekend, you Saturday night, you'll be looking, you're trying to find out who's got a gig that night so you can put on a show. You know what I mean? Nowadays, I can just book a show and know that nobody else is gonna have something going on, because that's the way it goes, and that's the way people have been treated, and that's how it goes. So it's important for us to have a live scene to allow gospel connoisseurs, investors into people, to see your talent. And you know, in ones where you see somebody young and talented, and you go, okay, well, I don't know much about management, but I've got some money. I want to sow into that young lady because she is powerful. Let me get these right people ahead of it. So that's important. Sorry, bro, I have to just correlate that into the scene.
It's called repertoire development, artist repertoire.
Affinity Extra, be extra.
Okay, guys, this is Roger Moore here on Affinity Extra. We're here to be extra, 100% about it. And part of the journey has been myself learning about the Black history of music and Black music history of Black music. And I've got the historian himself, Kevin Tomlin, in the studio right now. He's dedicating time to come up to Birmingham to do this work in his studio. So hopefully you appreciate the conversations that we're going to have, because you're thinking, you do all that for that? Listen, guys, this is real important for us to understand our history. Without history, we won't know how to maximize our future. And the problem is, the moment we forget history, the current becomes very messy. So, just let's let you know about that one anyway. But anyway, today I go in the studio and I thought, listen, he hasn't showed off his books at all to us. So we need to talk to him about his books. His books that he's written and taking time out to do an amazing piece of work, and we need to celebrate it. We need to talk about it and whatsoever. Now I've got this book in my hands anyway, so before Kevin brings him, it's called Icons of Memphis: An Introduction to American Soul and R&B. Now, the one thing I know about soul and R&B is Mary J. Blige, a bit of Erykah Badu, a bit of Jeanne, a bit of SWV, Brownstone. That's that's I wouldn't say TLC. I don't really count them. There's a rap thing that's out there. But anyway, and Total. Listen, people don't know about Total. You know what I mean. But you got Cook Clothes, Keith Sweat, Kelly, and the list goes on anyway. Still, Babyface, Raphael Sadiq. Yes, Roger, you was around them days. Yes, I was around, but I didn't go to none of the events. But anyway, Jodeci. So Roger, stop. Blackstreet, but Roger, just stop, right? But listen, right. So that's what I know about soul and R&B. But the thing is, they're coming from something. That's the ironic thing about it. You think they just made it up on the spot? No, they did not. It came from something. So I've got this book, and it's done. Now this is under the I know Kevin, you know him as Kevin Tomlin, but you gotta remember Signature Sounds, and it's got signaturesoundsonline.com in here anyway. So but guys, Signature Sounds. Now I'm gonna just quickly flick through it, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm seeing right in front of me. So if you're listening in or watching in, I'm flicking through the book and I'm seeing straight away, it's a creative with this, because as creatives we can't look into Bibles without pictures. My best experience with the Bible, bro, was the Good News Bible, when it had illustrations in it, and I started reading the Bible, and it was so much easier just because it had imagery to help connect to the words. And you can tell that creative did this. I'm seeing imageries of spaces, images of different people that go, oh, is that right? Oh, who's this? Sad song. I'm thinking, what's that? About and whatsoever. And I'm seeing things by David Porter, like, who's these guys? And I'm seeing faces, the staple singers. Now we should know about them now. To be honest, I didn't know much about the staple singers until the past couple months anyway. But we got all these singers from gospel into non-gospel, but a lot of them have got the roots in gospel music, if not all of them. And I'm seeing all these guys. Let me see, Andrew Love and Wayne Jackson. What the beauty thing is, and I have to emphasize this point, is when we do black music of black origin, when we look at black music,
yes,
it's not just about black people. There's white people involved that have integral parts of it. So if you're feeling offended, thinking you're listening in and going, oh, this is nothing to do with me, sorry, there's white engineers, there's white musicians that was very key to the sound of black music. We might have conducted it, we might have been the source and the influence of it, but there still were people part of the journey who were not black, and we weren't exclusive and just saying the only way you can be part of this is being black. Maybe a few groups were like that, but no, in the best part, even if they said that, they would still need to go to white engineers, to the best engineers in the sound, and they would go there and pay for the services. So we have the importance of it. And also the wider thing, Kevin, I have to say, sorry guys, I'm chatting too long, but the wider thing as well that you do look at in this book, it's not just about artists, it's about record labels, it's about studios. What sound do studios bring out things, and the importance of engineers. Some of it, like, guys, I'm a bit of an engineer at church, yeah. Now let me give you my experience in church. When you have singers where you only have one good singer, the engineer is the key person, you know, bro. In church, to make worship sound sweet, you have to understand which mic to turn down and which mic to boost, and use a sound rather than a definition. You gotta understand which singers are who are dragging the song along. Also, you gotta look at how good the front row is at crowd, how good the choir is. So you have to balance the sound on the spot, and people don't realize that without that sound engineer at the back of church, disastrous.
Disastrous. It's very,
So the guys that get looked over, the only time you monitor a sound engineer at a gig is when you hear feedback.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Engineer, what are you doing? And you're thinking, that's pressure. You know what I'm saying? But listen, he salute all these guys, and it's all in this book right now, guys. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, you can see it in my hands right now. So yeah, do check it out. It is on Amazon. I'm selling the book straight away because we're gonna chop into it anyway. So yeah, and reasons why we do what we do from a historical perspective. But yeah, bro, talk to me about this book, and why this book now. Right, so let me put this book down. So, first of all, what made you want to document black music history? What inspired you? You've mentioned it briefly before, but what inspired you to now dedicate your life to an art form where the artist probably will never know, already gone, or never know, never care about Mr. Kevin Tomlin? Why did you have it? Because it's not about Kevin Tomlin going chilling with Quincy Jones for Costa and you know what I mean, getting tickets to free tickets to go and see Will Smith, or you know what I mean. It wasn't about that for yourself. What was it about? What drove you, bro?
Well, it's basically the cultural richness of that sound. And the introduction by my late uncle, when he introduced me to the Hot Butter Soul, Isaac Hayes Hot Butter Soul, 1969. Yes, and actually going back to the fact that when I was younger, from 67, I was rather fascinated with the Rita Franklin when she came on the scene. And Sam Cooke.
Okay.
And what I noticed, what was interesting me very much, that each of these people had an individual sound. How did that come about? Why? They're all playing the same instrument, but it is different.
Okay.
There's a feeling, there's an emotion, there's a depth, which transcend beyond the technical.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. And of course, when my parents migrated to Jamaica in the early 70s.
Okay.
And while I was there, I was listening to the sound that was coming out of America.
Okay.
You know, the Temptations.
Okay.
The Supremes. The Temptations. Right. Marvin Gaye, etc. Yes, go on.
So obviously Kevin was in church, but obviously he snuck out with like a whole lot of your generation, you know. Pretend they'll come to church and don't watch Top of the Pops, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But then when it comes to it, they might listen to everything out there, yeah. So
but what had actually happened as well which was very interesting, was that we discovered that the musicians that were playing on these sessions were from the church.
Oh.
They, and we could go through a list of them, cut their skill set and mastery while in the church. The church was a fertile ground. James and Tume, who used to work with Miles Davis and in touring, said, two places where the most brilliant musicians come from is from the church and the jazz community. Two of the master of the rhythm section.
And which church was this?
Well, the church ranged from the Pentecostal churches and the Baptist churches, and even some of the what we call Wesleyan and all the Anglican churches.
Okay, they're predominantly black musicians.
Yes. And not only that, white musicians as well.
Okay, come on. Ooh, get corrected right there, Roger. Okay.
Yeah, especially considering the fact that many of the musicians that work in Memphis and Show and so on, they went to church.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
From church. Yes,
okay, cool.
Church as well, and also during the weekend and so forth, and during the week, they rap with black musicians. They're good friends. They jam together. They go and tour. They do club dates.
Okay, cool.
So, and also the white engineers became the facilitators.
Okay.
James Stewart was also a record label owner with Stax, but he was also the engineer with Mo Chip. Mo Chip was the other one that did a lot of the early stuff for Stax.
Right.
Baby and so forth.
Okay.
And all the other hits from the early days, such as Green Onion, etc.
Okay, cool.
All those monster hits.
Last
night.
Yeah.
There's two monster instrumental which gave the sound its richness.
Okay.
So
you hear that, people?
So, and also, what you need to remember, they recruit the musicians locally. So the local musician create a sound that was synonymous to the city.
That's incredible, because you don't really see. Now, this is the thing that did come across to me is that you're localizing sound pockets now. So
that's
now,
right.
And the thing is like
let us not, when we talk about localizing, we have a localized sound in Birmingham as well.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people don't realize that there is a local signature sound.
By the way, guys, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But so the icons of like so Memphis of like in your book there, and you've got like, now when I saw localized sound, I looked at hip hop. Now I'm going from the hip hop era, so I was looking at you got Tupac and you've got Biggie, you got West Coast versus East Coast. You know what I mean? So you're starting to thinking, hold on a second, there is localized sound. And then you got the South, the Miami bass sound. You know what I'm saying? And then the South come up with the I can't forget.
Nelly come from the East. So he's got the East attitude.
This is what I'm saying. So guys, and then you got Drake now with a Drake with a fusion sound from Canada. So you have got localized sounds, and I think Canada is actually probably a really good like portal for the UK, because it is very much, when it comes to city culture, and I'm not gonna say the word urban, but I would say ethnic sound, ethnic sound or city sound. They have a similar makeup to us in terms of you're gonna have Nigerians mixing with Jamaicans, mixing with English. You got certain second generation, third generation, this that going on, mixing with people that's just come to the country. So you have an interesting sound developing that way. So for me now, it's important for us to actually recognize that there's different sounds, and I think we naturally do. But when it comes to R&B, we just think of certain things, and we don't probably look at them depths. But you have brought me to highlight to me the fact that basically each era has its sounds. We take it for granted that New Orleans, Mississippi, they talk about New Orleans has a sound,
that's in my first book, The Icons of New Orleans, well, which create the music icons such as Fats Domino,
You know when
Little Richard, etc.
you see when you to New Orleans, because as a Christians we don't want to touch New Orleans because it's seen as an evil voodoo kind of like a spot, a voodoo-ish spot and whatsoever. Which we have to show is it's just probably just a bit of a political push, thanks to the it was part of a French territory, but that's a whole nother discussion from that anyway. Still, yeah. So if you're from Mississippi, hit us up, man, and have a discussion about these points. But as you said, Mississippi has its sound now. For me, when I think of places like Mississippi and Memphis, not so much Memphis, because Memphis is Memphis, Tennessee. Them two things come to that. But when it comes to your first book with New Orleans, that seemed to be a hotbed for the black musician coming through. It seemed to be the part that you need to cut it in New Orleans, in the pubs and clubs and the not pubs, but the clubs in that scene, break through that scene. Is that correct?
Well, it is a correct thing. It was a correct analysis because the independent major labels on the West Coast, the Imperial, the Speciality, Modern, etc., they and Aladdin, they hired the black talent or the top local musicians and so forth and songwriters to actually go around the clubs to find new emerging potential, right?
Okay.
So Fats Domino was captured. It's the same thing. Alan Toussaint, and all of them were captured as they go into clubs as scouts.
Okay, cool.
Go to scouts looking for potential, uncut diamonds. Looking for who is the next, who is a capable young youths and raw and burning. Yes. Now
that's something I want to pause you on there. So this is the problem now, guys. Yeah, in the gospel scene in the UK, the biggest problem is this: we have a very poor live scene at this moment in time, and I think we don't recognize the importance of a healthy live scene. Healthy live scene it develops and also is a platform for labels and producers to see the next level of talent. You plug out the promoters, which I believe in the UK gospel scene. Yeah, and the reason why I'm getting Kevin to touch base with this thing, because I'm just correlating everything to where we at now and some of the troubles that we are.
Right, yes.
So when we read Kevin's books and see a healthy live scene, what we have to realize is that sit to yourself and think about, like, okay, we give our promoters a hard time, but promoters, yes, they may be the biggest hustlers on the scene, but the reality show is that they have put on a platform for you to develop. You should be paying them to be on them sets, not so much them paying you every 2 seconds. But artists, for me, in the gospel scene, is more focused about how much they can make off these platforms. But they've actually made platforms very rare for us to have in the UK gospel scene. What we should be happening is like it used to be when I was a little one coming through. There was just about 3 gigs every night, bro. Every weekend, Saturday night, you'll be looking, you're trying to find out who's got a gig that night so you can put on a show. You know what I mean? Nowadays, I can just book a show and know that nobody else is going to have something going on, because that's the way it goes and that's the way people have been treated, and that's how it goes. So it's important for us to have a live scene to allow gospel connoisseurs, investors into people, to see your talent. And in ones where you see somebody young and talented and you go, okay, well, I don't know much about management, but I've got some money. I want to sow into that young lady because she is powerful. Let me get these right people ahead of it. So that's important. Sorry, bro, I have to just correlate that into the scene.
It's called repertoire development, artist repertoire.
Defines that phrase for you.
Well, that was one of the ability of many legendary recording executives such as Jerry Waxler, who actually saw the real potential of Aretha Franklin and just let her just get between a piano and a keyboard and just let her loose. Let the gospel just flow.
By the way, there's a movie for Aretha Franklin at the moment. So I was tempted to watch it, the missus there. So yeah.
I like that lady too, I do like her, Jennifer.
I'm going to get Kevin in trouble here, innit?
Yeah, you get me in trouble. My black sisters do touch my heart,
Yo, I must get people too comfortable in these shows and they just reveal their heart. but no,
yes.
definitely. So now, 100%. I think that's important that we have these platforms out there and for that. So when it comes to you got things like carnivals.
Yeah, carnivals. Yeah,
Mississippi
and
has their
remember also
Ludigar.
Yes. But we need to remember what is also vitally important. There was a Chipman circuit.
A what circuit?
A Chipman circuit.
A Chipman circuit.
Yes, chicken circuit. It's a circuit where all the major cities, inner cities, had a theatre where the blacks all jam and perform. You might have about 10 black artists on the ticket.
And that was in just
all the major cities.
All the major cities. Okay, in America.
Yes. The Odeon Theatre.
Okay.
In New York. The Uptown Theatre in Philly.
Okay.
And the other different theatres and venues in the different cities, which the black promoters and so forth take their artists around.
So literally, have a point where they can bring the artists. That's good.
And that's how the artists
infrastructure
and the studio musicians practice their craft.
And you can taste. You can put out tunes. You can play tunes.
Yes. And you have to make sure that you were actually brilliant live. Because if you went in there and you're looking, and there's no such thing as we sort of tweeter your vocals. This was it.
Oh yeah, live.
This was it. Just the same way as in the recording section, it was hit. First take, and if the first take was disgusting, you have to do that all again.
And that's why we develop performers to be able to, like, you got Gladys Knight and the Pips and all them guys.
That's how they were. That's how
why they're so clinical.
Yes, it was so clinical. That's a nice word, and so holistic and create a feel. They understand the feel and they understand the groove.
Okay.
They're constantly doing exploratory strategy. That's the same thing you find in the Memphis book, because a lot of those musicians weren't necessarily classically or college trained.
That's
another thing. Go. Listen to this. But they actually inspire the musicians who were classically and jazz trained. They brought a vibe to the studio,
and that's
they brought a groove which the string rangers just come and slide right in and give it cream and dimension.
I feel that, man. And I think that I think we sometimes do a disservice to that flavor that that came to us, because over here
the flavor is not okay. Yes. Go on, talk.
So a lot of us, we play by ear, yeah. So like myself, I'll be playing along in church, and not the other musicians can't play by ear, yeah, apart from me. And when the lead song leader take it somewhere else, it's like me and my one and the drummer, because I'm the only one who can play by ear. But generally, I play by what I sight, but roughly. But then by ear, I find it easier. The joke is, when I'm reading music, I'm more like make mistakes, but I'll make less mistakes once I got the vibe in my ear and got the groove and got to understand what's going on. Then basically, I'm more adventurous.
Well, when we think about, which we'll eventually revisit, when you think about the Funk Brothers, who were the core sound of the Motown sound, right? And when you think about MFSB, which was the core rhythm section and sound for the Philly sound.
Okay, yeah.
They call him mother, father, sister, brother. It was a group of black and white brothers and sisters that worked together. And then this is what was interesting. They have the sweethearts of the Philly sound, the three beautiful black women who were the background vocal for the sound. Ooh, yes.
And who were they?
They were Benson, Ingram, Benton. One of them is dead, but they were awfully stunning, and they could sing, bruv. They could put on a show themselves.
And that's
part of the Philly. And then you got the Katie Sisters and so forth, which is part of the Chicago Soul fraternity. They were the sister to call to give it the cream, vocal cream.
And this is crazy, bro. Because you're helping me to now to divide up black music into sound segments and not chuck everything into a hot pot of R&B.
No.
You know what I mean? R&B from LA, R&B from here. Yes, we got this, but each area's got a sound which has come from the area. And something I picked up, he said, I remember when I was talking about there's an Afro sound in America. I can't remember what it's called. It's not before Afro beats was really big, but it's very Africanized sound. And my friend said to me, it's not big in New York, but it's big in Washington. That's the first time I thought, that's interesting. So you have a separate kind of cultural connection.
Actually, let's put it this way. When Central Line was released by the Central Line itself, Walking in the Sunshine, that single, it sold 800,000 copies within the New York, New Jersey area alone.
Okay, cool.
8,000 copies in the clubs around there.
Right.
That is a single from a British funk recording that, which the late Linton Bettles was. He was the vocalist on it. So in actual fact, if you look at it globally, Walking in the Sunshine has sold over 1 million copies, but that's underground. Hello.
Yeah, man.
Hello.
So,
do you understand?
So cash in hand.
Yes, cash. Yeah. Well, it's not really cash in hand, but what I mean, it was in the clubs.
Clubs in it. Yeah. It's not in the shops. Yeah.
It's not in the. It's in the shops. It's in the shops. They buy it, but it didn't actually yet cross over into the main charts. But yet it was a monster. It was a monster enough to attract the sheiks, for them to work with chic.
That's crazy, man.
So.
And it kind of says do them things, they kind of look for talent, man.
The behind the scene, the touring bands. Now, let's just look at it very carefully. In terms of the Memphis sound. The Memphis sound had about 2 different significant labels that operate from Memphis. There was a Stax record and I record. Ooh. Stax record and High record. I record represent Al Green.
Okay.
And Stax represent Isaac Hayes. The Staple Singers.
Okay.
Carla Thomas. Right? Booker T and the MGs. Ooh. Johnny Taylor. Boom, boom.
So once again, how does these sounds now this shows you from the 60s and 70s gospel artists, because you see the Staple Singers like it was like normal artists out there. Staple Singers is a gospel band, isn't it?
Well, they came from a gospel root because their first unofficial million seller was Unclouded Day, which was released by VJ Records, which was a black-owned label, which had a strong gospel roster and R&B roster and jazz roster and white roster. So that was the first label, the first black label, and one of the first label in history to have success with each different genre.
So with yeah, man, these guys.
And the Beatles was contracted to VJ Record briefly for a while. Jijin.
Somebody made some money, ain't me. You know what I'm saying? So it shows you that
that is one of my books. That's one of my books going to be for the series. This is just a melting pot.
Okay, so basically, it's official here, guys. Kevin, God's Sparing Life, will be just banging out book after book after book after book after book after book after book. Okay, bro, let's have a look at
go on.
Right. So, guys, we've got Icons of Orleans. Is it
New Orleans?
New Orleans. Sorry, so I said Orleans, but New Orleans. And Icons of Memphis is now available straight up on the website. Now, on the website,
you can actually see it on the website, but it's available on Amazon. Amazon. If you type in Icons of New Orleans and Icons of Memphis, and type in Kevin Tomlin, it should come up.
I'm just trying to go to the website. I'm trying to do that in front of me right now. Now, and you can get it from Amazon as well, bro.
Yeah, Signature Sounds, signaturesoundsonline.com, signaturesoundsonline.com,
Oh yeah.
signaturesoundsonline.com.
And so what's next, bro?
Well, the evolution, there's another city we're working on as well, which is just as powerful as this one, and it's going to be bigger than this one. Each book gets bigger in terms of the contents and how major the city was.
Okay.
You got the Chicago.
Chicago, okay.
Oh yes, Chicago.
So will you feature about Kanye West from Chicago?
We'll talk
Or
about.
we go before that.
We go before that. We're talking about as far back as Curtis Mayfield and the Shy Lights. Ooh.
Okay.
And Tyrone Davis.
Okay.
Yes. And this city was responsible for the success of Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth. Yeah.
Wind, and there it is. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Mm.
And also it was responsible of producing the string arranger and horn arranger who worked with Phil Collins on many of his projects. Do you know that?
Okay.
So I go into full detail and showing the impact.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's interesting.
Yeah, because what we need to understand, many of our artists in the UK, in terms of Rod Stewart, many of these musicians actually work with him on some of his recording project. Yeah, the late Hal Jackson. Yes. Donald Duck, late Donald Duck. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. All these Donald, we call him Donald Duck,
Yeah.
pet name. But all these musicians at one time worked with some of the British artists who are coming up, who like the sound. Yes.
That's quite. So it's important for us to actually get. So we're gonna be watching out for that space for that. But it's like, Kev, like we're both on a journey today, man. And I would say, Kevin's been fantastic. God knows why we came into each other's life. It wasn't by no intention at all, but from us, I was hunting each other down. We bumped into each other on the GMIA project. And, you know what I'm saying? And as I said, Kevin, let me just touch base with you on a few things. And all of a sudden, we just like connected crazily. And it's something about the importance of history, restoring, talking about history. So just about, we're not going to be, we do talk about history on the station, on Affinity Extra. We share out the information, we have it out there, so we have it there on the YouTube. We're storing it all up because I believe, yes, I want people to look at it now, but also at the same time, I think it's more from a future perspective for people to look back at certain periods when people look at this, especially when I want to go into next year's God Sparing Life, Black Music History. Is it Black Music Month? That's June?
Yeah, in June, both the UK and the US, it's Black Music Month, where they go into great detail celebrating many of the creative power brokers behind the sound.
100%. And I think we do it slightly in the UK, but we know we do. I know they do it hard, mate. Yeah, take it seriously.
The American is treated as presidential decree almost. It is actually, where it is actually it's actually written into the Constitution or into the books.
Wow.
Officially as Black Music Month. And when it comes to Black Music Month as well, they do what we call a reflection, a retrospective of some of the musical masterpieces that actually came out in the Black music community. Or the inner cities, such as What's Going On, these landmark albums such as Key of Life, Songs in the Key of Life, but our legendary friend Stevie Wonder. All of this have the inner city experiences go around. And then we look at Philly, and we talk about Ship Ahoy, these landmark albums that are social commentary of the time.
Wow.
Which are actually long-term impacting. Don't forget, let's not forget about the Minneapolis sound, according to Jimmy Jam and Prince, etc. Right?
And I think it's important to know that that and this is why I do believe we have forgotten the reason for music in the UK gospel scene, because it's there to send a message. Now, talking about gospel scene, but this is some left side chat here, because I'm going to deal with this with my colleague anyway.
Cool.
They were discussing, obviously Kanye West has just brought out a gospel album, Yeah, he's top of all the gospel charts all day long.
Yes,
Kanye
yes,
West
yes,
is,
yes.
each track and it's top of the charts. Yeah.
Yes.
And I having some of my presenters on the station saying it's not a gospel album.
Well, it's a fool, actually. You're a fool because a gospel album, if it's giving a Christ message, it's a gospel album. Matter of fact, come on, behave yourself, you know. Jesus, you know. What do you expect it to be? What, is it because it's coming from Kanye West? You've got to remember, Kanye West his family is from the church, the roots. All the blacks, any blacks, whether their parents weren't in the church, their grandmother, their aunties, their cousins, it's all a rub-off, especially when they have the family weekends.
Yeah, man.
Let's get to the
so
core of the matter.
So he knows what being a Christian. We're going like they're going. You know, the funny thing is, bro. Yeah,
don't make me laugh.
People going like, no one knows. Like he's never been to church in his life. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
So he knows him declaring that he's a Christian. He knows fundamentally what he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? You know,
he's no fool. He's a technical he's a strategist.
This man.
Please give me a break.
So for me,
that's a genius right there. Don't say no more.
I'm gonna tackle a couple of my colleagues on this because for them to turn around and say that the album is not a gospel album, is it because my friend does say that basically because he's coming from a big massive world background, but the reality of the show is that since he's become a Christian, he's produced Christian bodies of work.
And they're very good. They're outstanding. Sonically, they're brilliant.
They're brilliant, man. They're
brilliant.
They're actually crazy.
Kanye West, to me, reminds me of Quincy Jones. They actually operate in a different... They're like Tchaikovsky or Picasso. He actually operates in a no man's land.
Yeah.
He's not a follower. If you study Kanye West and Jay-Z, they don't follow. People follow them.
Yep. This is what I'm saying. And the joke is, bro, it's funny because I was watching some of a sound engineer for Kanye West who's meant to do the album now.
Yes.
So what he did, it's funny. I was watching somebody else's tweet. He tweeted out how Kanye West treated him. Yeah. But basically, he said it was meant to be at the studio for 7:30.
Yes.
So Kanye West was trying to call him. Where are you?
Yeah.
The boy didn't get up to 11:30.
No, you don't do that. Don't do that with the Quincy Jones and the Kanye West.
Listen, no, Kanye West text him says, get right with God. Don't come to the studio. They get basically you're sacked. But you know what?
Bro.
You never know bad words. Just say get it right with God.
Yeah.
God bless. You didn't even say God bless. You just said done. You know what I mean? And some people are like, oh, he sacked somebody. Where's the mercy? I'm like, bro, in that environment, you do not.
Quincy Jones would tell it, and I do the same thing. You do not. God is a God of order.
Yeah, man.
And if you God is a God of order, and if you're gonna come in the studio and treating it as a sort of afterthought. It is not an afterthought when you're doing creativity. There's a time and a factor. And remember, the engineer, everybody's waiting on the engineer, including the musicians, the string arranger, everybody. That's very rude. And the time clock is going.
Man,
Hello?
there's no
excuse for that. And I'm proud of him saying, this is the level of maturity. Very nicely said. I'm afraid that your
sympathy requirements
is actually gone.
Your spot's gone, man. Somebody else come take it.
You missed an opportunity. Go away. You actually letting a masterpiece, a creative entity, wait on you. What's the matter with you? Some sort of ego. Are you actually having a problem?
So about that in the studio there, we just had a bit of a flicker of the lights there anyway. So
that's all part of the growth and development. Anyhow.
Yeah, man. No, 100%. And I think, and so me personally, guys, I do, as far as I'm concerned, as Kanye West said himself, when I asked him, are you doing a Christian hip hop album? He turned around and said, I'm a Christian now, so everything I do now is Christian.
Wake up and smell the roses, because what do you classify as Christian? It must be something that is empowering and impacting. And it causes a mindset impact.
Young people who are not listening to gospel right now are listening to Kanye West's album, and trust me, it's creating questions for them about church. It's actually making church look cool, and we're too busy telling Kanye West it's nothing to do with us.
Are you having a problem here? Get off your judgmental high horse, and get into the groove. Oh, sorry, did I say get into the groove?
Listen, mate, you know what I mean? Them Kanye West vibes.
I'm the last person for them to come to, because when I finish with them sonically, they forget it. Because this is a crazy thing. There's a time when the Aretha Franklins and the Gladys Knight just go, and the Shaka Khans go into a gospel groove. Have you ever seen Patti LaBelle go into a gospel groove?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when they go into a gospel groove, when you see them singing, they're actually gone into another realm. And they begin to close their eyes because they're getting into the spirit. Ooh.
Yeah, man.
Because they DNA is actually gospel.
Gospel all day long.
It goes right. And when you listen to Otis Redding and Sam Cooke, the gospel music is in their vein. Even when they're singing love song, there's a spiritual impact with it. There's the way how they sing to women, they sing to their spirits.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And this is what we.
Come on. We need to understand.
We need to get on these guys, because we need to wake up, man. You absolutely need to wake up on this anyway. So yeah, because
wake up, please.
Because we need to recognize that that these sounds are just real. Like we need to support artists that are transitioning into Christianity from the secular world.
Yes. And another thing too is somebody was telling me about a Bob Marley track. I don't want to wait in vain. How gospel and spiritual and scriptural can it be? I don't want to wait in vain.
Come on. Yeah.
And redemption.
Yeah,
and Exodus. Those are scriptural based, bruv.
Yeah. So listen, guys, we just have to have a little bit of chinwag about defining what gospel music is.
Yes.
Has the good news of Jesus Christ? Yeah, but there's a lot of artists that are meant to be gospel, not saying no good news of Jesus Christ. So just chatting pure air, fresh air, and you call that gospel. But that's a whole.
Well, that
subject.
is another. Okay, when you two things. What I'm interested in is the sonic excellence of the sound. Okay, listen to me very carefully. Where the music actually shifts sonically and become sort of transcending masterpiece, where it moves from the ordinary to the extraordinary, sonically speaking. This is required through constant jamming and grooving, telepathic grooving with the respective artists, where you begin to respect each other and respect the space you are in.
Well, and this is what I'm saying, practice makes perfect, dudes. And I think that, in all what you're saying, Kevin, in all these great artists, I think artists just want to do two days a week on their craft. You know what I mean? It's not a 2 day.
Excuse me.
Every day.
Excuse me. Okay, listen, I'm going to give you an example. Larry Gold, the great string arranger who worked with Cry Me River. He did the strings on the Cry Me River for Justin Timberlake. When you listen to that strings, or Monica and Brandy with The Boy's Mind, that is his strings. That is his strings. Okay. And this is the same guy who did the strings for Kanye West with Flashing Lights.
Okay.
Okay. Now this brother, right up to today, still practices instrument, and he's been in the game for over 50 years. That's very interesting. Up till the 9th hour today, he gets up in the morning and practice on the instrument. Come on. Let's get this in perspective. Spin this over.
Yeah, man. So
what are you doing?
Yeah.
He does it every day, and he's a master string arranger.
So why do we think, as gospel singers in the UK, in the gospel, you can just turn up and
do thing?
Yeah.
No. what he's discovered, that there's a point where the instrument becomes your part of your personality, where you go beyond. You go sonically, you go beyond till you enter into the spirit.
Okay, cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, man.
Give you another example of that. Before Benjamin Wright Jr., the classical string arranger, was in the same ranking as Larry Gold. Before he did Off the Wall, he asked the Holy Spirit to direct him what to do.
Yeah.
Ooh. When he dropped in the studio, he was ready, bruv.
But that's controversial, bro, because you know what the church says. You can't call the spirit into them into them things. But the thing is, we're talking about people that's infiltrating the world. You know what I'm saying? And to infiltrate the world, it's a very, very. I think we're happy to be very religious in the way God moves. But unfortunately, God moves in an unreligious way, and I think because of our mindset, I think our mindset feels safer boxing God. But the reality show is we cannot box God.
We can't box God, because how do you explain? This way it gets very deep.
Okay, cool.
Bob Marley had relationship with about 3 women,
And the rest.
and what we know of. Right. And each one of these people, each one of these ladies, I wanted to think about this. Each one of these ladies, he had a spiritual impact with them.
Okay.
It was so to the point that they didn't want to see any other men.
Okay. Yeah.
That the power. So the question is, what really was Bob Marley operating with? Was he a Solomon of music?
Potential, potential.
Because the interesting thing about his music, it was a message. There was a radical message and an empowerment, which comes back to the Bible.
And it makes you think there's still that reality show is that Solomon said a lot of things in his bad days. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to his latter days, it didn't devalue what he said before.
No,
his actions while he was doing the good, but his proverbs was
potent.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. God doesn't operate with men who are perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah, cool.
I'm going to say it again. God doesn't. You cannot put God into a
I'm not
box.
perfect, guys.
No. You can't put God into a book.
Yeah, man.
He's too. Remember what the Bible said. My ways are not your ways. I go far above you, bruv. I created you, so you cannot put me in a box.
That verse
You cannot govern me.
Come on.
I'm the master of the universe. And hear what the scripture says. Hear what the scripture says. No. Hear what the scripture says. And his firmament show it his handiwork. So what is his masterpiece? If this is his handiwork, what is his masterpiece? And the firmament. And we are part of his craftsmanship. So when you listen to Quincy Jones, when Quincy Jones said, when I go into the studio, I'm going into basically the Holy of Holies, because I'm grabbing at the Creator himself to pull the master. I'm pulling at the master. So this is why this book is important. These men and women pulled at the master. Who is the master of this? Who is the master?
And in church we teach a lot about Satan being the master of sound. And
he isn't. He was a naughty boy, whatever.
Yeah.
Who actually didn't listen to the master of the sound and didn't follow the master's protocol. Who is the master? Who created? Okay, right. Let us not say anymore.
Jehovah.
Yes, and the thing about he was the spiritual being that was creatively connected, but he actually got out of hand.
Yeah.
That's why he always goes after creative entities like ourselves. The devil always go after us because we are the cultural leaders.
Yeah.
Not the politicians.
Yeah.
The Kanye West are the cultural leaders. Hello. Yes.
Makes you think about it.
Anyhow,
Yeah,
but anyhow,
you do it.
stop it,
Oh
stop it,
man,
stop it.
guys, listen, we just enjoyed this conversation. We are definitely 45 minutes deep in, so we get this into the close. I think we're talking like we're just cool dudes in the studio, which we are cool dudes in the studio.
We
but
are.
we, you know what I'm saying. But definitely, I just want to just really shout out some of the projects that we're doing. So we definitely want to shout out Kevin's books. I've now, you know what I mean. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna put always his links now to his books in every video that we do now. That's my bad. I should be doing it more often. But anyway, we're gonna sort that out and put it in there anyway. Still, yeah. So that's Icon of Memphis and Icons of New Orleans. Put in Kevin Tomlin and you're finding quite quickly in Amazon. I did it myself, and and if you got Kindle, you can get your stuff on Kindle as well. You know what I mean? Which people, you know, it's quite cost effective, and you can get through there as well. Yeah, instead of getting the paper book if you prefer that platform. But also to watch his space, because time's ran out today, we wanted to talk about some of the stuff we were looking at, but just watch out because we are looking into really digging into the history of UK gospel, and not only UK gospel according to a few people in the UK gospel which you've seen so far on TV or to the so-called favourites in industry. We are digging so deep to people that you probably don't even know that's done being part of gospel music. So we're digging deep. We've spent the past I would say I've been in development for the past year alongside Kevin, you know, in learning how to kind of look into history when it comes to from a musical perspective. Also, you know, and then you know, we've got a hit list, you know, we make and we're doing some factual stuff. So watch this space that, you know, we'll have some space interviews, conversations which will just blow your mind about the input that we have made positively in the community, the music community, and also the wider community, because I don't think people realize that, you know, we look at Kevin here and think, oh yeah, cool guy, loves his music, but a lot of us make major positive inputs into young people generally through our secular jobs, through our schools, and I think our passions are shown through that, and we bless a lot of people through that, and all I see is the negative connotation of what black people do in our community through music. And I think now it's time to flip it over now and actually say we have added positivity to the music.
Change the paradigm.
Oh, that's the word. Change the paradigm. Oh my god.
Paradigm.
Yeah, man.
Paradigm shift. Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? 100%, man. You know, I don't know if that sums it up nicely. Does that
yes,
work?
it's quantified it quite nicely, because we're here as agents of change. Ooh.
This is what changing is definitely what we're going to be.
We're in the business for that. Yeah.
100%, man. So
100%. Yes.
So guys, definitely, you know, if you're listening on YouTube, thanks again. If you're listening to the show via the station, do listen to our stuff on www.affinityextra.com. And you know, we're celebrating the year of doing these shows and whatever. This is the year of doing the Edge, just over a year now. And you know, definitely check it out there. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, like, do what you have to do to the YouTube video right now. So if you got this far, especially if you got to the end of the video like this, you must be, somehow you might like the conversation. So definitely you need to subscribe to it anyway if you got this far. If you got this far in anyway. So yeah. But Kevin, thanks again for the time and the efforts, and thanks for coming up to Birmingham and being able to do these conversations, because it's nice when it's in person rather than over the YouTube, the Zoom network. You know what I mean? So it's all good for that, man.
In person is quite enriching.
Yeah, 100%. Just recording here on 4K. So if you want a 4K version, go to YouTube and press that 4K button. But listen, all love. Thanks again. This is my host Roger Moore alongside Kevin. Signature Sounds Online.com.
SignatureSoundsOnline.com.
Amen.
According to music historian Kevin Tomlin.
We're over and out.
Visit us for updates and shows at affinityextra.co.uk.